Hello, I am Thomas and this is a short presentation of ContactManager. First, I would like to apologize for not being there in person. The main reason is the excess of work. However, I plan to join the MediaWiki users and developer conference whenever possible. ContactManager is the first ever knowledge email system. This is a little ironic but not groundless. ContactManager is not a replacement for your standard email client application. ContactManager can collect in one place a wiki, all emails spread across several providers, catalog and organize them for the long term. The first statement is a reference of a comment made by Yaron in the top page of the extension, probably the only one but relevant. Also, I would like to stress that we all love MediaWiki because it's a place where to store and safeguard knowledge rather than consuming information. Although the mainstream email clients can be practical, their aim is to consume information and never to assist you to make of it a valuable resource. Therefore, the aim and approach of ContactManager is completely different from Gmail and Co. Actually, Gmail is the most chaotic, or at least I consider it such. And these are the last two comments for the preamble. 1. All this took a lot of work, more than 140 commits along almost 3 years for ContactManager and around 322 commits and counting for Visual Data in 2 years. 2. A presentation of ContactManager is also a demo for Visual Data since it would be possible without it. Just another comment, I look forward to know how much time ChatGPT 8 or Gemini 24 will take to do something similar in a few seconds after scrapping this and other works. The installation is quite straightforward. Here is explained in detail. The extension page on MediaWiki.org. It supports MediaWiki 144. Please download a version after 19 October for both Visual Data and ContactManager. It can be installed on an existing wiki and won't harm it in any way, also with reference of non-registered content model. There is an uninstall script included in Visual Data. Before to start, you mainly need to install the PHP IMAP extension on your server and to enable SMTP and IMAP for the mailbox or mailboxes you would like to import. It's possible in future that PHP IMAP won't be anymore necessary, but for now it is. And with regard of SMTP IMAP, some providers like Gmail and EU require to create an app password. Here are the needed commands. Git clone from Gerrit, imported data maintenance script, and run jobs type ContactManager job. After the installation and specifically the import command, you will find a set of pages in the ContactManager namespace. Such pages allow to create mailboxes, manage them, to read and answer email, manage conversation, write email, and much more. First, you create a mailbox with an arbitrary name and a list of related email addresses. They must be registered on that mailbox. This is how appears a mailbox after retrieving email, contacts and conversation. I will show you how to achieve that. Don't forget at this point to add the following in local setting PHP with your parameters. The main key is the name of your mailbox. They can be multiple. This is for IMAP and this is for SMTP. Now you can press the job buttons and execute them. Good. So now when you refresh with reload data, you will see this info. The same you do with get folders. This is faster. And the retrieved folders will be here. The pop-up form get messages is probably the most important form in Contact Manager, since it allows to set search criteria, filters, pre-apply categories to retrieved contacts, and more. For instance, you can apply a regex on subjects and to assign a category to the recipients of that email using the matcher group. Like you will use this regex to match the content of the square brackets, like for the mailing list with /HL, and then $1 as category name. To be fast here, you can set different search criteria for each different folder. You can retrieve a range of messages, and the forms fields are interactive depending on the data type. This is all Visual Data Future, not Contact Manager. It seems with flag, range, and then coming to filters, you can set filters on each email header or non-header variable, assign categories to specific targets, including recipients, or skip the message. Here, for instance, we are applying this regex on the subject, capturing the string inside the square brackets, and assigning a category with the name to these targets. Contact, from, contact CC, and overview. The same we do in the filters by message section, plus we skip messages whose from field contains the string no reply, which is usually not relevant. Here changes the target, we have the message as target, and here we have the address from with action skip. You could of course skip by flag like is seen, or by date, for instance. So now I will show how appears an email when stored on the wiki through Visual Data and Contact Manager. This is the inbox. I take an email. Here you have the visible text, HTML, the headers. Here you can answer. And by clicking here, we access the source data of the email. So basically, this is all the email data structure, and the filters which we have seen before are applied on it. The mail structure is standard compliant. The main parser is JBeterson, but has been integrated with additional fields like visible text or conversation hash or as attachment, and is as simple and as complete as possible. Coming back to this page, here you have the reply form, which is a standard Visual Data form, which has not been specifically coded for Contact Manager, except for the So the submit action, which triggers a contact manager action for sending the email. Apart this, here you have a standard visual data query for the recipients. For instance, here you have a toggle for the HTML field. Here you have the attachments, and so on. Now just a mention to this field BCC categories, by which you can send messages to all the contacts belonging to one or more categories. If you combine it with a mailer like SendGrid, MailGun, etc., you can also perform substitutions, and here at the bottom you can set or offset and the limit of the query list of contacts to split the sending in batches. I think this is a quite powerful tool which already exceeds the capabilities of most email clients. Now I will show you how it works internally. This page is composed of some parsing function with a condition. If the email is not retrieved, it will show a button to retrieve it and a few templates. Here are the parsing functions: visual data print, visual data query, visual data button, and here is the condition. Let's show 1 second the main template used by this parsing function, which is this one. So here you have a parsing function time local to display local time client side, query link to show a link with parameters, array map which is taken from page forms with attribution, another query link with a visual data query inside to retrieve a parameter. Then you have a visual data form to display the pop-up to compose the email with payload data, which is also base 64 encoded. And finally, you have the tabs with the parser function shadow root, which is provided by ContactManager, base 64 encode, which is provided by visual data, with these parameters which are passed by the template. Also note that the URL, which is a script, not an article URL. In other words, the page is not cached and it works as a standard web application. Here is the parameter, page ID, and mailbox. Now, before to close this technical presentation, to leave space for a use case, I want to show you a feature of visual data tables. When data are added to the table captured by the query of the data table, then the table shows a refresh button in order to refresh it. Let's try create contact. And here it is the contacts table. You see immediately the button refresh table. And here it is. We can add categories. Which also will appear here. In this case, we should use this. Test cut. So after this short and largely compact tour, let's say that from the beginning we have set all the search options. Then we run the job or set the cron task to automatize it, and we see something like that. Here are the options. We press here to start the job, and here we run the command. Here you have seen the download of 200 headers, 100 for the inbox and 100 for the sent folder, and the download of 5 messages. For each message, also contacts and conversation are created automatically with as much relevant information as possible. Of course, everything is created in form of wiki articles, most of them in JSON content model, and visual data entries based on such data. I suppose it's quite fast, and the process now is also robust, after a lot of tryout and understanding the underlying mechanism. After the process, you will have notifications like that in the form of echo notifications. Thank you for your patience. I would like to say that ContactManager required a lot of improvements to visual data, mainly regarding query processor, but also data tables and time local, so that the last is much better thanks to ContactManager.
We're starting with a brief overview of the conversations feature. So the conversations in the context of ContactManager, they are not like a Gmail conversations, which we find to be rather chaotically grouped by subject or internal reference ID. And they are not grouped by an internal email reference ID. They are grouped through a conversation hash, which is stored along with each email. And it's composed of the sorted list of all email recipients by their email address, including from, to, CC, and BCC fields. So the conversation holds all messages exchanged since the very beginning with all recipients in these categories. So they are a constant part of the conversation. If other recipients join the conversation later, then that is considered a different conversation, which also makes sense in view of when you have a new person enter a conversation. It obviously influences it may influence the scope and direction of that conversation. When a new person enters a conversation, so not only it becomes a new conversation, but with each new participant, if that participant has not been in any of your prior conversations, the person's contact is created automatically. But we also have a way to add manual contacts who are not in any conversations. So now I will go to, I will show, for example, if we look here at the conversations box, you can see how they're categorized. Every person in the conversation is listed. Sorry, back to conversations there. Okay, so every person in the conversation is listed, separated by the commas. The number of messages are shown, and the latest received email in that conversation is shown. We also have a button for status, which can be answered, on hold for something that is pending a reply, or no response necessary. So you can look at the status of them and determine what you need to focus on, what needs to be done, basically. And we also have the ability, of course, to add other features for sorting via wicked text. For the contacts, then, we have a separate tab, and we have categories for each contact. So you can categorize people according to what they're involved in. And so for each, under contacts, it will have the groups of categories, and then how many people are in each category, and then it will show them here. And you can see for each contact which categories they're in. And then if you click on a contact, it will give you directly their information here, email, phone, links. It will show their categories, and then for all conversations they're involved in, when was the first time they appeared in a conversation, and when was the last time they appeared. For editing, we just press edit, and you can add, for example, I think this has been mentioned before, the email address, and additional phone numbers, links to CV, personal blogs, etc., pictures, languages used. And for categories, if you want to add or remove a category, we go into validate, and you can see the categories they're currently in, remove one or more, add another, etc. Okay, and so the conversation is managed by a header switch with months and years, through which you can navigate all the emails related to those recipients. You can look at each month, or previous year, current year, or all, to see, look at the messages. It's quite useful when you want to quickly search for contents or get a complete overview, which is more complicated to achieve on Gmail. Of course, you can also send a message to all the recipients in a conversation, all the participants in a conversation, without entering them again into the two CC or BCC fields. For example, the if we go back to, all right, if we go back here to conversations, and for example, in this particular conversation, we can see what happened in August. We can look at, there was nothing in April. We can show all. You can look at a month, any month. And then if you want to add to that conversation, just click on new email, and it will automatically generate a new email to all the recipients there. Okay. Okay, yeah, we're just about finished. Okay. And then we have more features, for example, sending bulk email, tracking, Twig templates. And for these, we don't consider Gmail and the like competitors, since ContactManager is open sourced and self-hosted. And in future, we'll be having a maintenance button job so that you can clean the mailbox based on similar options to the Get Messages button. And for support, you can write us at support@topway.it for feedback or to get support. And we just wanted to add that the contact manager and visual data we consider them to be relatively user-friendly, especially for new organizations that have never worked with semantic data before. And thank you. And that is it.
Okay, thank you. Then I will raise the question to the room. Any questions? Okay, that works well. Then a wonderful round of applause.